Diamonds on my wrist when I step up on a diamond. Diamond, diamond, diamond. Diamond. Diamond, diamond, diamonds on my wrist when I step up on
What is up, everyone in the freight world? Happy Monday. It is Monday, the 18th of April, Monday after Easter. I hope you guys all had a great weekend with your friends and family out there. Yeah, we are back. The Freight Coach Morning Show. We are live every single weekday from 8:30 to 9 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 to 11 a.m. Central to break down the realities of this industry. As always, before I jump in, got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub and provide you their trailer report. You know, asset reutilization is the wave of the future for freight brokers, you guys. You can legitimately now create a drop trailer pool by utilizing their product. I mean, for example, out here, again, you know, to use my example from last week, we have trailers available right now over in York, Pennsylvania. And then they're looking to go to Coteau du Lac, Quebec, which is just outside of Montreal. And then they also have some trailers available right there in Coteau du Lac, Quebec, looking to head down to Shippensburg, PA. So again, you can round trip this stuff, you guys, as a power only. And if you're not looking into a power only option as well for your clients, you need to be. Again, it's like, how do we separate ourselves in this ever competitive world of freight brokerage? This is a way. And then furthermore, you know, they have some available out there from the rental perspective, you guys, out in Toronto. They're looking for like a long-term lease on that. So again, create a drop trailer pool and sell that capacity to your shippers. That is what matters out here. Again, you're never going to have a shipper asked to stage a truck on site, but they do like that drop trailer pool out there for their convenience as well as yours. And then furthermore, some other locations out here in the United States right now, they do have some vans available out in San Diego, looking to go up into the Spokane, Washington area, as well as up into the Calgary, Alberta area. So check that out, you guys. Again, get creative out there. You know, with the market being what it is and this market shift coming in that's already here, it's going to affect it. But, you know, also remember, the spot market is vastly different from contracted freight. Okay. So for you to kind of create your own market within the market is what you need to be striving for as a broker. And at the end of the day, your carrier partners are going to benefit from all of this as well. You know, because those small carriers out there, if they have a trailer that goes in the shop, you know, it might be a week or 2 weeks or whatever the hell that looks like. This is a viable option for them. So check it out, vhubapp.com. Just do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. They're, you know, supporters of the show. They're helping keep these lights on over here and bring all of this information out there for you as we break down 3 industry articles. And you know what? Just provide a little bit of a different perspective out there. We are at day 6, you guys, of us still having a truck parking issue in this industry. I know there's a lot of differentiating reports that are coming out about there of it. But again, our drivers are still parked on the overpasses, the on-ramps. Well, maybe not the overpasses, sorry, the on-ramps and off-ramps of the freeways and everything else. And then they don't have access to facilities. Like, again, ask yourself this: would you do that for a job? If you saw those trucks parked out there, would you be like, damn, I want to go out there and get my CDL? I don't think so. Also, this is day 6 of some facilities out there not allowing drivers to utilize restrooms. I mean, again, think about that. Would you want to go somewhere? And if you're an executive out there watching this right now, look into your own policy, look into those facilities that are out there, if your drivers are able to use them or not. And again, I see both sides of it because I know that generally when that gets to that point, something happened that made that come to that reality. But let's work on this collectively as an industry. All right. If you're in charge of a trucking company and any of your customers don't allow it and they don't have any alternatives for him, or the driver can't drop their trailer and leave, I wouldn't want to work with them personally, because again, that affects my driver retention in my opinion. And that's the biggest issue that's out there. It's a retention issue. You know, we got to keep people in this industry, and we're going to kind of talk about that in some of our articles today. The first one that we're going to break down is from Transport Topics right now. And it is titled "Trucking Stakeholders Offer Advice, Caution on EPA Proposal." Again, you can find this at www.ttnews.com. Title of the article is "Trucking Stakeholders Offer Advice in Caution on the EPA Proposal." Here we go. The trucking industry urged federal regulators to consider how a proposal to tighten emissions limits on engines will affect motor carriers, as they are the ones who will ultimately deploy the equipment subject to the new rules. A lot of people out there right now, if you're not familiar with the CARB laws in the state of California, this is a great precursor for you to research right now, because there's what I think is a very big problem that's going to be happening here soon is when CARB compliance went in, it essentially put a timeline on a lot of this equipment that you can't operate in the state of California that's 10 years old, or older than 10 years old. So we're coming up on it. I think 2024 is the rollout of that first thing. So essentially any equipment that's 2014 or older that doesn't have an exemption of some sort can no longer run in the state of California. So again, these are also ulterior factors that affect this industry that a lot of individuals don't talk about because it doesn't affect them yet. So look into that right now. And this is a direct tie into this. So, and here's some of the feedback out there from the article. This rule is directed at manufacturers, not at fleets, said Glenn Kedzie, Energy and Environmental Counsel for the ATA, during a 3-day marathon hearing on the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's proposed heavy truck nitrogen oxide emissions reduction rule. Truckers and truck manufacturers, for the most part, express reservations with the proposal, calling for significantly reducing emissions of smog and soot-forming nitrogen oxide from heavy-duty gasoline and diesel engines. I get it. I want to breathe cleaner air too, but this is one of those things that, again, is going to affect the small trucking fleets that are out there. And I'm going to get into that here in a little bit. This is something that zero emissions pathways are not free. It's a trucking companies buying new technologies that determine the success or failure of the EPA trucking emissions regulations. Fleets don't make trucks. They are consumers that buy trucks, which is very obvious in that remark. And then also here's some decent feedback that they have from Navistar. If you're not familiar with Navistar, one of the biggest truck manufacturers out there, Jacqueline Gelb, she said that the rule must result in affordable model year 2027 vehicles that make economic sense for our customers to purchase, and not force them to forego any purchases or hold on to older vehicles longer. That result would impact truck sales, operating costs, and employment. She added that emission standards must realistically reflect how far and how fast technology improvements can be developed and implemented into a 5-year window, which I completely get her stance on that, because again, it's looking at this back to the stat that 97% of this industry is small business. Is this going to affect them from being able to purchase new equipment and everything else, especially with equipment prices being what they are and no sign of a slowdown out there? We need somebody to step up. And I love seeing Navistar taking that stance, because clearly they see the big picture with a lot of this, and it doesn't affect 3% that are the mega carriers. It affects the 97% who are the small businesses out there. So it's good to see them take that stance. 1 second, please. And furthermore, in this article, we have Dawn Fenton with Volvo Group of North America. She offered a similar suggestion. If we are to truly maximize emissions reductions, it is critical that the new federal NOx standards be stringent enough to improve air quality, particularly in environmental justice communities, without creating unintended consequences that could postpone market adoptions for cleaner technologies. And again, this goes on. There's a bunch of people who are commenting on this. It seems like a lot of it is 50-50 right now. And I think that a lot of it is just playing politics with it, because obviously the current administration is the current administration is obviously very green. All right. They're going with green technology and everything else. And again, I'm not here to talk about politics, but you see that what is their corporate responsibility? I love the people who are standing firm, saying like, hey, this affects a lot of our business that is out there. So they're going to push back against it. And I also see some people out there that are standing for it. What's going on, man? Apon Muhammad in the comments, what's up? And then also, because here's the thing. Where was that? There was a cost out there that I saw, like $400,000 for electric trucks, because that was their big thing. Again, it's like electric, and I get that. That's the put. Yeah, it's right here. With the cost of new heavy duty electric trucks costing well over 400,000 and fuel cell vehicles estimated to cost even more, trucking fleets simply cannot afford to. I mean, that's exactly it. Brand new trucks right now are anywhere from 170 to like 225 for a standard truck. And I mean, 400 grand for a brand new truck. That's an electric one. Again, we need to look at this from I understand the environmental implications of it. I've done my own research on it, but are we I can't stand for something that tries to put people out of business. I can't do it because that's in my like I think that the greater message is cleaner air, but that can't come at a greater cost to the industry as a whole. And that's what it boils down to me is there's a greater cost to the industry by not having this go into effect. I think that, the pathway to cleaner electric vehicles and everything else sounds great, but again, it sounds great today when it's 10 years away and then until it becomes an issue. And that's what I don't want to see happen. On to article number 2 here today. This is coming from my friends over at cdllife.com. This is one of those articles that I really want you guys to read. I really want you guys to look into this one because it's the 3-day human trafficking and CMV inspection initiative to take place at Virginia truck stop and rest areas this week. So this actually rolled out today, April 18th, and it's going through Wednesday, April 20th, which will conduct Operation Safe Passage as a human trafficking awareness effort for the trucking industry. During this 3-day event, I'm assuming via Virginia State Patrol motor carrier safety troopers will be positioned at truck stops, motor carrier service centers, and rest areas across the state to engage with drivers, to distribute educational materials to raise awareness about this. This is one of those. This was one of the hardest episodes that I actually recorded for my podcast, and I had my friends over at Truckers Against Trafficking on, and it was tough. It was really tough to sit there and to hear this stuff. And, it was with Kyla Lehner is who the guest was. And yeah, we broke this down. Preventing human trafficking and support to its victims have been a priority of Governor Youngkin and his administration since stepping into office in January. It's good to see that Virginia is rolling this out with tens of thousands of commercial trucks and buses traveling through and across Virginia on any given day. This statewide initiative has extensive life-saving potential, said Colonel Gary Settle with the Virginia State Police. Commercial drivers are added eyes and ears when it comes to identifying the common indicators of human trafficking victims and perpetrators. This campaign is about putting an end to very serious crime that intentionally preys on vulnerable adult and juvenile populations. Anyone who suspects human trafficking, and if you're in the state of Virginia this week, and you see that, dial 77 on your cell phone. It'll put you in contact with the nearest Virginia State Police Emergency Dispatch Center, or obviously call 911. This is a big opportunity for us as an industry. And again, I want you to look into Truckers Against Trafficking. Listen to that episode on my podcast where we broke it down. Michelle LeBlanc, what's going on? Truck drivers really do have a unique opportunity to stop human trafficking. Love the great work that yeah, absolutely. What they're doing over there. And again, it's like, because I think a lot of people it doesn't affect them today. So or else they also ask like, what can I do? I think that just being more putting yourself, look out for it, because I think it's very obvious when somebody might be under duress. And I think that most people don't want to, they don't know what to do. And I think obviously it seems simple, but call the authorities. If you see something that doesn't look right, clearly something's going on there. And I just want to see a lot more emphasis on this. I'd love to see the state of Virginia doing it. And again, if there's any other states out there that are doing it, put that in the comments section. And that would be extremely beneficial, because again, this is just a way for us as an industry to step up and help out with human trafficking, which is a heinous thing that happens. It's not just women. It happens to men too. It happens to children of all ages. And there's got to be a coordinated effort to put an end to this despicable act that happens out there. And if you see anything, do the right thing. Do the right thing and contact the authorities. I don't have a perfect response on like an action plan or anything like that outside of contacting the authorities, and do some research with Truckers Against Trafficking. They have a bunch of information that's out there on their website, and here, I'll put their website up here for people right now, for us to look into. It is Truckers Against Trafficking is it's https truckersagainsttrafficking.org. Check that out. They got plenty of information on their website. And again, what's up, Lauren? Lauren Began's in the audience. Lauren, the episode was with Kyla Lanier. I don't have the episode number in front of me right now, but that's the one where it was. And again, it's like some of those stories that they have out there. It's just harrowing to sit there and listen to that. And it's like, as a father myself, I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to think that. And I know there's a lot of people listening to this right now that are parents and everything else. And it's like, what more can we do? And I think it is bringing awareness to this, and it's not letting this stuff go, because like, yeah, this is just this week in the state of Virginia, which is great. But there's 51 other weeks out of the year that we need to do stuff. And again, like, not saying anything, but anybody's doing the wrong thing here. But I want to see this as something that is done every single week. We can be on, like, because again, it's like, we need to be better as an industry. We need to be better as a population. You know what I mean? Yeah, Michelle, you bring up a great point. It's very easy to feel powerless, or like, it's not my business. And yeah, the Truckers Against Trafficking offers training that anyone can benefit in terms of what to look for, or if you do or see something that's out there. Yeah, Lauren, you should connect with Michelle. Michelle's great. But again, it's like, what more can we do? And we got to start, and we can't lose sight of this stuff, because this doesn't go away because it ends at, this week or something like that. And then furthermore, any fleets out there, what more can you do to help train your drivers on stuff like this? And again, I'm not saying anybody's not doing that, but I think that would be a pretty good point of emphasis to bring up in training, or continual training, or to have some sort of information to hand out to people on what to do if they see something that doesn't look right. Because again, it's always easier for us, me, I'll use myself as an example. It's easy for me to sit here and say this when I'm not actively watching the situation go down, but you got to start somewhere. And obviously calling the authorities is going to be your best bet. But yeah, this is a great article to read. It's on cdllife.com. The title of the article is 3-day human trafficking and CMV inspection initiative to take place in Virginia truck stops. So yeah, definitely check that one out for sure. And we're going to get into our last article here, which is coming from FreightWaves. And this is something that it seems this is going to be a point of emphasis for a while. And as soon as I get my technology to work, because I'm apparently having a hard time clicking right now. Give me a second here. All right. So this is from freightwaves.com. Feds reject industry advice for under 21 truck driving program. Regulators say no to decoupling apprenticeship pilot from the Department of Labor. So federal regulators have rejected certain recommendations from trucking and safety groups on its CDL pilot program for those ages 18 to 21, as regulators work to keep the project on track from White House approval deadline. In a notice scheduled to be published on Monday, the FMCSA stated it's turning down advice from the ATA and others that the agency do away with requirements that carriers participating in the safe driving apprenticeship also join the U.S. Department of Labor's registered apprenticeship program. Let's see here. The DOL is part of the Biden administration trucking action plan. Just completed a 90-day apprenticeship trucking challenge to jumpstart the carrier's apprenticeship as a way to boost the trucking industry's several driver ranks. Let's see here. In comments filed with the FMCSA, ATA noted that while it supports both the FMCSA and DOL apprenticeships, many carriers may not want to sign up for the DOL program because of the added costs. Well, there's the underlying factor here. ATA also pointed out that requiring carriers to sign on to the DOL apprenticeship in order to be part of the FMCSA pilot was not required. Yeah, okay, so I get that. Not wanting to charge fees for this stuff, not wanting to add that. I understand. Let's see here. Yeah. So, I mean, it's saying right here that according to the ATA, that it's a very real possibility that small and medium carriers and overall subscription may be delayed or reduced due to the costs and burdens associated with it. So again, it's like, why would I want to pay to do this? And then the FMCSA, let me see here. It also rejected a series of joint recommendations by the Truck Safety Coalition, Citizens for Reliable and Safety Highways, and Parents Against Tired Truckers. The group wanted the FMCSA to increase requirements of the drivers serving apprentice trainers have 5 consecutive years with no safety violations or crash, up from the 2 years. I can see that. The idea of pairing an 18-year-old with a driver trainer who only has 2 consecutive years of violation-free experience to qualify for supervised. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. Wait, why is it only 2 years? Okay. And then they want to increase liability insurance from $750 to $10 million for participating carriers. Wow. Okay. What's going on, Steven? Papa Freight. He's out here. Yeah, that's kind of insane to me. 2 years only for violation and accident free to be training. I see again, I think this is another great opportunity. On paper, I am 100% for this apprenticeship program, but we need it to be done the right way. We can't just stick, and again, it's with my problem with getting a CDL right now is I'm pretty sure one of the guys on my podcast recently said that there's a way to bypass the actual training portion of it. You can essentially just take the test. Yeah, that was with on my podcast episode here recently. But yeah, I don't think that this should be rolled out in its current verbiage at all. To me, that's ridiculous. The FMCSA said it found no benefit to increase. Okay. FMCSA, why don't you see a benefit in increasing the requirement for having a driver to have 5 years of accident-free and safe driving? Why is that an arbitrary number? 2 year to 5 year? You don't think that there's any more gained experience? I mean, the average driver gets how many miles in a year? I think that experience is so essentially what I'm seeing is if you have 2 years of driving, if you come into the industry, you've never driven a truck before, and you have 2 years of safe driving. I think that there was a requirement in there. You had to be driving for a few years prior to being able to be a certified trainer. But wouldn't you want wouldn't you want your best drivers out there doing the training? Why would you want that? I don't understand what is to gain from the FMCSA doing that. Yeah, I mean, if you look at 102 out of the 144 people were opposed to it, 31 supported it in its current state, and 11 were neutral. See, that's an issue to me. It's that's leadership. The FMCSA is the leadership of the industry. Let's call it what it is. That's your boss just not fucking listening to any feedback that you have. Well, let me rephrase that. Actual feedback, because that has a big implications out there. It's not like you're just saying, I don't like the fucking way the bathroom is designed or anything like that. That's a legitimate concern of only having that. It's really, because again, it's I'm for the premise of having this 18 to 21-year-old apprenticeship program, because I think that is a big area that we can get to improve driver retention. I think it would help people out if we can have more of an emphasis on training, because I think in its current structure, it's drivers aren't set up for success. I think they need more training. I'm obviously a massive proponent of training and spending more time doing that, but I think rushing them through and then not having the best drivers training them from that 18 to 21. So I can see why people are against it. I don't understand why the FMCSA would be against that, though. I don't get it. I think that's because again, that's naturally going to come up with a bunch of pushback and neglect. Who would want to be a part of that? I wouldn't want to put, and then especially raising my insurance and everything. I wouldn't, as a business owner, I wouldn't want to put my fleet into that apprenticeship program, knowing that
that's what's out there. I don't know. I think this is a major miss by the FMCSA. And again, I have a big problem with them not listening to its constituents here, because I think like that's the whole job of government, is to do that. Jesus. Okay. Yeah, that's a big miss. Again, you can find that article on the freightwaves.com. Feds reject industry advice for under 21 truck driving program. What do you guys think about that, though? What's your guys' honest thoughts on the 18 to 21-year-old apprenticeship program? Because I think that, from my opinion, I think it's a good thing. But what I don't like is seeing what's going on with it right now with that. I think that that's setting us up for failure as an industry. I think that that's going to drive more people away. It's going to drive that initial pushback, because, I mean, those are pretty valid concerns. But what are your guys' thoughts out there? Drop those in the comments if you have any initial thoughts on that at all. I know it's Monday in freight, and people are, I don't even want to bring up the Monday freight stuff, that what's probably going on for a lot of you right now. But yeah, I think that is one thing to look into. And again, this is the importance of getting involved in politics and getting involved with your local officials and everything. If you don't like something, call your elected officials and say something. This makes me, I think I might have to reach out to the FMCSA about this as well, because I just don't like not listening, because like that's a lot of people who aren't for it. A lot of people. And you're essentially telling them all to go fuck themselves. That's just my general assumption on that. Nick Rumor, what's going on, brother? Yeah, I think that it's a miss that's out there. Definitely a miss. I mean, Jesus, man. So yeah, those were the articles that I had chosen for today. We got, again, the first one was coming from Transport Topics, ttnews.com. And Nick, you might have missed that part. You'd be a fan of that one, about the truckers stakeholders offer advice on caution on the EPA proposal that's out there. And then also from the cdllife.com on the human trafficking inspection that's taking place out there in Virginia this week. Again, reach out. Yes, Lauren, you know what? I'm going to reach out to the FMCSA and bring this up like that. I just think that that's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ridiculous to not listen to that. And then I want to do this apprenticeship, but I want to do it the right way, because we need to funnel in the right drivers. They need to be being trained by the right people. Like, I can see why so many people are against this now. Like, on paper, it looks great. But again, like, this is the point of getting involved with politics. Like, this is the whole point, is getting involved and voicing your frustrations with this stuff. Because otherwise, they're just going to let shit pass. They need to know that people care. Like, you need to know, like, if you don't like what your elected officials are doing, or what some of these governing agencies are, you got to say something. Or you got, and again, like, that's why you got to utilize your local officials that are out there to do something about this stuff, because at the end of the day, we still live somewhere where the elected officials work for us. Don't forget that we are the everyday citizens. And again, this affects a lot. This doesn't just affect trucking companies, you guys. This affects everybody. That's the whole point of bringing up this article for me today, is this affects everybody. Because yeah, we're not at a driver shortage. I don't think that there's a driver shortage right now, but the average age of drivers is getting up there. And we need to do a better job of, thank you for sharing that, Lauren. And we need to do a better job of getting people involved and stepping up and speaking up. We got to take back control of this shit, or otherwise it's going to spiral. And then what are you going to do? Because as soon as this shit gets passed into law, what are you going to say? Oh, I wish somebody would have be the fucking change. Again, you want this industry to change, be the fucking change. And I'm going to live by my words. I'm going to reach out to them. And voice my displeasure with it. I think it's ridiculous. Yeah, Nick, I don't know why I don't see the comments coming through Facebook on here. It's I don't know. I'm figuring all this out. I'm sorry. I'm not perfect. I'll get it all. Yes, Nick Rumor. I mean, I'm probably not the best poster child for when we're talking about making logistics sexy again, but hell, I'll slap my face on it. I'll slap my name behind it. But yeah, that's the whole point. We got to make transportation sexy again. We have to be the change that we're looking for. we have to be the ones initiating it, because I plan on being around for a while. God willing, I plan on being around for a long time. And I'm going to ensure that the changes that are needed in this industry to progress this industry is what I'm going to stand for. That's what my platform is all about. That's what all of my content is all about. It's about education and progress. First and foremost, helping the little guy, helping those mom and pop operations out, because I come from a working class family. I stand by the working class families, and I want to make the blue collar sexy again. It's not just logistics. It's the blue collar as a whole. We have to do it. And that's kind of it for time. Nick, Lauren, Michelle, you guys, Steven, thank you guys all for tuning in today. I know it's Monday and it's a slow day to start the week, but fuck it. I appreciate you guys all so much. Thank you to my sponsors over at VHub. Check it out right now, vhubapp.com. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. We'll be back tomorrow. 3 brand new articles to talk it down, to break down, 8:30 Pacific, 10:30 Central for 30 minutes. Freight Coach Morning Show every single weekday. I appreciate you guys all so much. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll be talking to you guys